Hey friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is Dave Rowe. He's going to tell a story about Roger McGuinn and Vern Gosdin playing a practical joke at the first Farm Aid.
One of my favorite stories on the road was the first Farm Aid. And I mentioned earlier that all of 1985 I played with Vern Gosdin. And Vern, if you don't know anything about Vern, he started out in a duo with his brother called the Gosdin Brothers, and they were famous in the bluegrass world and country world. And they were in L.A., and he was right up in the middle of all the Byrds stuff, you know, the Sweetheart of the Rodeo stuff, and Gosdin Brothers. Chris Hillman in the Byrds was in a bluegrass band with them, and they even, a lot of people don't buy this, but they even, the last 2 or 3 Byrds albums, they actually sang the harmony on a lot of it because those guys couldn't get along in the studio anymore. So the Gosdins in fact, Vern was with Clarence White when he got killed in the parking lot of that club where he got run over, and it was deep, the Byrds thing with them. And so McGuinn was around a lot with Vern. He'd show up and play, and Hillman was around a lot because Vern liked to use the Desert Rose Band. So I had a lot of interaction with Hillman and some interaction with McGuinn. But the best thing is we got booked to do Farm Aid, 1985, the very first one. And McGuinn came. Vern said, Roger, why don't you come down and we'll learn 4 or 5 of your songs. And and we were the first act to play, the opening act at the first Farm. And it was going to be telecasted on TNN. But we were told ahead of time that we would not be part of the televised part because they had saved all that resources and energy for the big acts. And there was some big shit going on then. It was 85. Bon Jovi was a headliner there, who I got to meet, who was really nice. And the biggest thing that happened that a lot of people don't remember, it was the first night that Sammy Hagar played with Van Halen. That was their first live show together. So here's how it happened. There's 2 or 3 things that happened that night that were just extraordinary. The practical joke shit on the road can get really deep, and it was really deep and thick with the Gosdin crew. They were just, man, you had to be on guard all the time. You could end up with shit in your face, you know. So him and McGuinn hatched this thing. Since it didn't matter, we weren't going to be on TV, we knew. And they detuned my bass. I tuned it, and they gave a couple bucks to the techs to detune it. So when I hit the first, Mr. Tambourine Man was the first song. When I hit that first thing, that dude, it was so fucked up. I was standing there going, and it took me a minute. Then I looked over at them, and they're all just dying laughing. So I struggled for 2 songs to get back in tune, and we did our stuff, and it was okay. But what happened was, the funny part about it was when Van Halen came out, Sammy Hagar steps up to the microphone and goes, "How y'all doing? We're the new Van Halen. This song goes out to all you tractor driving motherfuckers." And TNN just cut it and started running us. And there I was, bang in the back, trying to tune the bass. I've tried to find footage of it, but I think because of Sammy cussing, you can't find any of that footage anymore. And I think they're still in litigation about who owns those shows, the Farm Aid stuff. But man, it was just great, man. I just stood there and I was like, you mother. And I got home and turned on the TV, and there we were. They didn't even allude to the fact that Van Halen was there because of what happened. And we were the first act, and I'm standing in the back, and they're just dying laughing. So that was egg on your face time on that one.
If you'd like to hear more stories from Dave Rowe, click this playlist, and I'll see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.